Welcome to Skytech-Lens. The American auto industry is facing a seismic shift. Over 42,000 factory jobs have disappeared in 2025 alone. Major Asian automakers are scaling back, moving investments to Canada, and leaving American workers reeling. This isn't just a policy debate, it's a real crisis reshaping where and how cars are built in North America. From the factory floor to the dealership, everyone is feeling the impact: higher prices, lost jobs, and uncertain futures. The big questions: how did we get here? Who's adapting? And what does it mean for the future of American manufacturing? Let's break down the critical developments you need to know. Tariffs have hit American factories hard, triggering a wave of layoffs and economic pain in manufacturing towns. Each lost job ripples through communities, hurting suppliers, local businesses, and public services. The cost of imported parts has soared, forcing automakers to either eat the losses or pass them on to buyers. Now, sticker prices are climbing. A family sedan that cost $28,000 last year is now over $30,000, without any new features. Plants in states like Alabama and Ohio, once secure, are now at risk as automakers rethink their U.S. investments. Production is shifting to Canada and Mexico to dodge tariffs, breaking up supply chains built over decades. For workers, it's more than a lost paycheck. It's a blow to their identity and stability. As new cars become less affordable, more buyers turn to used vehicles, driving up prices there too. Local governments lose tax revenue, leading to cuts in schools and services. The result: a slow-motion crisis, eroding prosperity from the ground up. The goal of protecting American industry has backfired. Jobs are lost, prices are up, and Canada is gaining ground. This is a cautionary tale about the unintended consequences of disrupting a global industry. Even industry giants like Toyota and Honda are struggling under the weight of tariffs. At first, they absorb billions in extra costs to shield American buyers, hoping the trade war would end quickly. But that strategy can't last forever. Now prices are rising and production is shifting. Toyota and Honda are rethinking their entire North American operations, moving some models to Canada or Mexico to avoid tariffs. Untangling decades-old supply chains is costly and complex, impacting thousands of workers and suppliers. Toyota is doubling down on some U.S. investments, like truck manufacturing in Texas, while pausing others. Honda faces tough choices too, as tariffs hit their advanced U.S.-made components. The billions spent absorbing tariffs could have gone to innovation, like electric vehicles or plant upgrades. Now, these companies are in full damage control, fighting to protect their market share with fewer resources. Publicly, they promise long-term commitment, but behind the scenes, it's a frantic scramble to adapt. The stakes: survival in a market they've spent decades building, with U.S. policy now their biggest obstacle. The giants are wounded and the future is uncertain. For smaller Asian automakers, Nissan, Subaru, Mazda, Mitsubishi, the tariff crisis is existential. Lacking the financial muscle of Toyota and Honda, they can't absorb costs and must raise prices or cut features. Nissan, already facing internal struggles, is forced to make tough decisions about U.S. production and pricing. Subaru's Indiana plant can't fully offset tariffs on key imported components, putting pressure on their loyal customer base. Mazda and Mitsubishi, with little U.S. manufacturing, are hit hardest. Every car they sell faces steep import duties. Their survival strategies: streamline lineups, cut costs, and focus on best sellers. But relentless belt-tightening stifles innovation and growth. These companies are squeezed by tariffs and outgunned by bigger rivals, losing market share and relevance. The American dream they invested in has shifted beneath their feet. Now they're scrambling just to stay afloat, showing how trade policy can push even strong brands to the brink. While others retreat, Hyundai and Kia are going all in on America with a bold localization strategy. Their $12 billion Georgia gamble is building a massive EV and battery plant, plus a network of supplier factories to insulate themselves from tariffs. The goal: create a self-contained supply chain on U.S. soil, generating thousands of jobs and minimizing import risks. It's one of the largest economic development projects in U.S. history, but it's a high-stakes bet. If tariffs disappear, Hyundai-Kia could be left with costly, less efficient U.S. operations. They're racing to finish construction, aiming to get tariff-free EVs to market before the landscape shifts again. Existing plants in Alabama and Georgia are being retooled to use more U.S.-sourced parts. This strategy also wins political goodwill, making Hyundai-Kia a major American employer and policy influencer. If their bet pays off, they could dominate the US market. If not, it's a costly miscalculation. Hyundai-Kia isn't just weathering the storm, they're trying to harness it. For consumers, tariffs mean higher prices and fewer choices. New cars are more expensive, and used car prices are soaring. Automakers are cutting trim levels and options to save costs, making the market less diverse and less interesting. As buyers are priced out of new cars, demand for used vehicles spikes, driving up prices across the board. Meanwhile, Canada is seizing the moment, offering incentives and stability, attracting billions in auto investment. Automakers are shifting production north to avoid US tariffs, with major upgrades and new plants in Ontario and beyond. These are jobs and factories that could have been in the US, now fueling Canada's rise as an automotive powerhouse. Tariffs have also disrupted the just-in-time supply chains that kept costs low and quality high. Now, parts are delayed, inventory costs rise, and companies scramble for new suppliers, adding hidden costs for everyone. The end result: American consumers pay more, have fewer choices, and see jobs and investment flow to Canada. Trade policy meant to protect has, ironically, put the US at a disadvantage. The North American auto industry is being fundamentally reshaped by tariffs. This is no temporary blip. Giants like Toyota and Honda are absorbing losses and re-engineering their networks, but at the cost of innovation and higher prices. Smaller players like Nissan and Mazda are fighting for survival, forced to cut models and raise prices, reducing competition. Hyundai-Kia's bold US investment could make them market leaders, or leave them overexposed if policies change. For workers, the story is mixed. New jobs in Georgia, but more lost elsewhere as production shifts north. For buyers, it's almost all bad news: higher prices, fewer choices, and a shrinking dream of affordable new cars. Canada is winning the investment race, while US policy creates more losers than winners at home. The lesson in a global economy: trade policy has complex, often painful consequences. America is walking a tariff tightrope, and the final cost is still unknown. The auto industry stands at a crossroads. Today's decisions will shape jobs and cars for a generation. Is Hyundai-Kia's Georgia bet a masterstroke or a risky gamble? Can Toyota and Honda keep shielding buyers from price hikes? Is Canada's gain America's permanent loss? We want to hear your thoughts and experiences. Share them in the comments. Your perspective matters in this ongoing story. Thanks for watching. If you found this analysis valuable, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives.